Hi there. A film, My Neighbor Totoro, from 1988, directed by Hayao Miyazaki. For those of you not aware, My Neighbor Totoro is a Japanese animated film by the great director Hayao Miyazaki. And Miyazaki is, I guess they call him Japan's Walt Disney, but he's so much more of a visionary than Disney ever was. And his stories are just very personal, very beautiful. And this was his third film that was entirely his own. He had also done a Lupin the Third film called Castle of Cagliostro, which is wonderful, and I'll do in a later episode of this. But let's talk about My Neighbor Totoro. The basic story here is a father and his two young daughters who move into the country in this old fixer upper of a house with a massive forest around them. And as he's working, his wife and their mother is in a hospital with a illness we never quite determine what exactly it is. So there's also an old lady who's a neighbor who helps them in their earliest moments there. And as we settle into the peaceful nature of the country life, the girls see these creatures that are creatures of the forest, and the younger sister calls it Totoro. And it's amazing, and we take off from there. But the internal things here are about family, about peace of mind, about the power of nature, um, the magic of seeing things through a child's eyes, the beauty of nature, the magic of nature, um, the bond of family. I suppose I would say at the core of it is an underlying thing of hope and faith. It's all within there, as is peace. Beautifully done. I'm not going to tell you any moments because you need to experience everything in this film without any foreknowledge for its full impact and its full beauty. Um, it's always a hanky movie for me. I don't think I've ever watched it and not cried at some point, but that's my nature, I suppose. Um, when this film initially came out, it was not an immediate financial success in theaters over in Japan. And then they showed it on TV, and they had an offer that if you sent them a postcard, they'd send you a little Totoro. And they thought, well, we'll hear from a few people. They literally got truckloads full of postcards, and they honored all of them. And it kind of took off because of TV. Came over here eventually, came over here much later than 88. And people are still discovering it to this day. But let me talk to you about the power of this film because it involves, as I said, nature and forests and the Totoros that are the creatures of the forest, as well as other characters. There's these little dust mites and things like that. Um, in Japan, they actually have now entire forests that are Totoro forests. No one may cut anything down in them. The land is like they're in perpetuity just for these Totoro forests, and they have like little signs saying that. And people from around the world go and visit them every year in vast numbers. And I just think that's a beautiful kind of sign of the power of the film and the joy that it has inspired in people, that it has gone on to become a movement. So this is your chance to see it if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, if you could only see My Neighbor Totoro once, I don't know what to say to you. Um, Discover it. Be a kid again. It just immediately, I was a little kid watching this film. Notice, notice the small things like how Miyazaki handles water. It looks like water. I know that's a stupid thing to say. The water looks like water, but how many times in you know animation does it not? You know what I mean? He's wonderful with clouds. He always has something going on where something heading towards the sky is important. He's all of his films, um, nature is a huge part of them, and people are almost the lesser part of it. It's sort of like, how do people cope being in this wonderful world and not take away from this wonderful world? So that's our film for this week, from 1988, directed by Hayao Miyazaki, My Neighbor Totoro. I hope you give it a look. Hope you enjoy it. I thank you for coming by. And I don't know, is there a snappy ending? Should I say cut, print it? There you go.